Hi, I'm Dana, and today I really want to talk about decision paralysis and changing plans, changing routines, because that's something I've been struggling with lately, and I've not recognised myself struggling with it before. I might have been, but it's been the last couple of weeks, maybe couple of months, that I've been not doing things. And it's not because I don't want to, it's because this video is coming around specifically because of 2 nights ago when I was like, all I need to do in the next 7 hours is go to the shop and buy some food and wash my hair. What do I do first? And I was like, well, if I wash my hair first, then it's going to be wet when I go to the supermarket, and then that's going to be an extra sensory thing where I'm like, ugh, I feel disgusting, I hate being in the supermarket. It's going to be a whole extra just sensory discomfort that I don't really need while I'm there. But I feel uncomfortable going to the supermarket, feeling like I'm dirty and smelly and like I really need to shower. But I don't want to do a body shower to go to the supermarket to then come back to wash my hair and have another shower, because having a shower is also quite a sensory discomfort. So I just sat for 7 hours being like, what do I do first? I really need to do them both. And then after a while it's like, I definitely don't have time to do both anymore, so now I need to choose one to do. How? So I ended up not eating anything that day, which is bad, but I'm having more and more days like that, where purely because I can't deal with making the decision and actually doing the shop and buying food, and then the decision of what to buy, what I actually want to eat, what I'm actually going to be able to eat, and what's going to be a safe food and something I can actually stomach. Having all of these decisions all of the time feels like it's just getting more and more overwhelming for me. I'm not someone who's ever been particularly good at making decisions, especially very small, inconsequential ones. I feel like with a lot of really big decisions, I can quite easily be like, I wouldn't enjoy that one, that's the one for me, or whatever, you know? I feel like with big decisions, there's so many more pros and cons to take into account that I can do that quite easily and make a choice. And I will give that I'm not someone who's ever been good at making decisions. As a kid, when I had to make decisions, my mum often dealt with me the same way that she dealt with my older autistic brother, which was, say, for example, we're going to the ice cream truck. We're going to all be able to choose whatever ice cream we want. Me and my brother will stand there and stare at the sign and be like, shit, I don't know what I want. I could get an ice pop, I could get a magnum, I could get chocolate, I could get vanilla. There's too many flavours, there's too many assortments, there's too many different options. I don't know what I want, I don't know what's going to be the best. And my mum, rather than being like with my middle brother, she would be like, choose something. And with me and my older brother, she'd be like, do you want ice cream or an ice pop? And we'd be like, one or the other. And then she'd be like, okay, do you want this version of it or this version of it? And we'd choose. Having those two decisions, very, very easy. Giving me the whole lot of them, it feels impossible. It feels like I could just stand there all day doing the pros and cons in my head, trying to figure out which decision's the one that I want to make and not be able to make it. And it's one of those things that I well and truly cannot help. And it is significantly more stressful for me than it is for anybody around me. But I have also been in so many of the situations where I'm in a decision paralysis and I can't make a choice and I'm stressed to hell, I'm really overwhelmed, and whoever I'm with that's giving me the choice or giving me the decision is like, just choose, just make up your mind, and it's the least helpful thing ever, because chances are I will stressfully just be like, that one, and it's probably not the one that I actually wanted. It's probably the one that I was thinking I actively don't want because it was the one that was on my mind, because I was playing with the idea of yeah, no, I don't think so. The easiest thing for me is to just narrow down the options and then I can make a decision. But this is where I want to tie it into changes in routine and changing plans, because that's, I've noticed, where I'm mostly struggling, I think. It does come into play in various different places, with should I do a shop or wash my hair? But I think a lot of it, I mean, even with that though, I feel like that is because it was a change in my routine. You know, I don't wash my hair regularly. I probably should, I'll give, it's a bit gross, but we're honest here, and I don't wash my hair often enough. I don't go shopping all that often, you know, I don't enjoy the experience of it. It does feel like a big thing to me. And over the last, over this year essentially, as I've made friends and actually gained a social life and improved my life to something that I am somewhat happy and fulfilled by, I've learned to leave sort of gaps in my routine. So I do basically the same thing every single day. You know, I wake up, I do my bits, I film a video, I edit my video, I film a TikTok. I do more or less the same thing every day, and I've started to leave a gap of mid-afternoon to evening where I could watch something I'm enjoying, I can engage in special interest, I can, you know, I have that as part of my routine where I'm like, I can do whatever I want in this time. I can chill, I can do whatever. I can hang out with friends, you know. That's the main reason that I created that gap in my daily routine, was that I do see friends reasonably often now, and I would get real stressed about it, you know. I'd be like, I really want to hang out with this person, but I need to do this and I need to do this and I plan to do this, and they weren't things that I like need to do, you know. It's not like I need to post a video tomorrow and if I don't get it done now it won't go up. It's things like my dishes, hoovering, you know, like general day-to-day routine things that I do all the time, and I'd be like, no, but my life is going to fall apart if I hang out with a friend instead of doing those things. So I have created myself quite like a loose daily routine where I have a gap for myself. And I mean, I say that, but like I say, I do also try to use it for like shopping, washing my hair, doing like the self-care bits that aren't really a part of my day-to-day routine. But as I say, if I have a couple of things to get done, if I have to make a decision on the things that I am doing, there is a very high chance that I'm just not going to get it sorted. And then I'm like, oh my God, I've ruined my plans, I've ruined my routine, everything's going wrong. And it's all my fault because I couldn't just make a fucking choice. And it's so frustrating, it's so annoying, and I get so pissy with myself over it. And it makes me incredibly fucking anxious, you know? Like the other night when I wrote down the idea for this video, I hadn't washed my hair, I hadn't been shopping. That's fine. It's realistically just something that I can do tomorrow. It's all right. And yet I was sat here with like an absolute knot in my stomach, feeling totally sick and being like, I have let myself down, I've let the world down. I'm a completely useless human being that can't even make a fucking decision for simple day-to-day things that most people like do after work, you know? And like I said, I'm aware that it can be very frustrating for people around me. It can be very annoying that I just like cannot make a choice. But as with most things, I think that when we're talking about autistic traits and things that autistic people experience, we often focus on how difficult we are for the people around us. And that's not fucking fair, because it's a lot more difficult to be us, you know? Like, as much as I'll say like, oh, it's really like annoying for someone around me when I can't make a decision on what I want to eat, I'm having days where I just don't eat because I can't make a decision on what to buy or what to eat. Like, even when I have food in, like, I know full well I could have the sausage rolls that are in my freezer that have been there for like a month. I know full well that if I cook it, I won't be able to eat it, you know? Like, I need to wait until my mind, my body, I don't know what, I need to wait until something is like correctly aligned for me to be able to eat a fucking sausage roll. And until I get there, I can't eat, you know? So it's all very well that it might be difficult for the people around me, but things like this are also extremely detrimental to the individual autistic person. And at least personally, I don't have any support. I don't have anyone to like help me eat, to help me wash, you know, whatever else. I'm just stuck here on my own struggling, and I feel like a lot of us probably are. And it's another one of those things that I don't think that neurotypicals are just ever going to understand, because they can make the decision, they can weigh up the pros and cons and just make a choice. So it's never going to like fully sink in and be understood by them how it feels to be like, I just absolutely cannot. In the same way that I'm never going to understand how people can look at like 20 selections on an ice cream board and just be like, yeah, I'll have that one immediately, you know? I'm like, what the fuck? You know, and it's one of those things where like, as much as I talk about it being difficult for the like all sides, it can also be very, very dangerous. I've had times where I've been out like to gigs and the like, or to like just general nights out, and when it comes to me to go home, I can't decide if I should get the train, a bus or a taxi. And sometimes by the time I've decided, it's a case of like, there are not any trains or buses or taxis. The first Halloween that I went out to like celebrate Halloween with friends, I got dumped in the middle of Knowsley. I don't know why I had to mention that, because like half of you won't know where Knowsley is, but I was living in Birkenhead at the time, for anyone that does know the area, and my friends just dumped me in the middle of fucking Knowsley, and I was like, I have to get home. What do I do? You know, that's already difficult enough for any like 17-year-old, but I was also just like, I was stood there and there was a sign in front of me where it was like, I can go that way for the train, which will take me straight to Central, and I can go home, I know exactly what to do for that, and there's a bus stop there that has this number on it, and I've gotten that number bus before and I know that it will take me home. I couldn't make the fucking decision. I just stood there for like, I don't even know how long I stood there, because I was a little bit drunk and scared and overwhelmed. It was a whole thing. But I stood there for long enough that the bus had gone, that there was not another train, I'd missed the last train, and I got offered a lift home by some random dude in a van, and I was gonna go. Like, I'd followed him to the car park, and I was like, we were talking, and it was as we approached the car park that I was like, are you drunk? And he was like, oh, I've had a couple. And I was like, I'm not going in a car with you. Like, one of my big things has always been that I'm like convinced that if I ever get in a car with a drunk person that's driving, I will die. Like, I know that people do it all the time, which you shouldn't. And I know that like most people are fine, unless you're not. But I'm convinced that like, no, it's just one of those things I'm never ever going to do. I never have, I never will. I don't at all like driving under, I don't drive, but I do not at all agree with other people driving under the influence of anything, you know, and I won't condone it by getting in a car with them. So I didn't, but if he hadn't been drunk, I at 17 years old, because I couldn't make a decision on how to get home, would have just gotten in literally in a white van with a random man that I didn't know. And like, he was definitely more drunk than he said as well, because he was just incredibly confused when I walked away and sat in the bus stop for the next like fucking 6 hours until the first bus came and I got home. You know, people are very prepared to act as though being autistic only affects you in very like personal certain like circumstances, or like, especially with this kind of thing, as though it's some sort of like just little annoyance and little thing that you need to get over and just learn how to make a choice. And there's very, very little thought or like rationality, I don't think that's the word that I'm looking for, little consideration, let's say, of the fact that for a lot of us, we are moving around the world with like anybody else is, you know, we are in the same situations that anybody else is, but we're lacking a lot of the context and the like general ability that other people have in those situations, and they can be very, very dangerous. And a lot of them, like, I can look back and be like, that was so stupid, what were you thinking? But at the time, all I was thinking was, oh my god, I need to get home, I don't know what to do, you know? Like, not for a moment did it flash in my head that like I was a 17-year-old girl going off with a full-grown man into a car where he could have just taken me anywhere. Like, oh. And the fact of like, if he wasn't drunk, and if I hadn't had it drilled into me from a very early age that you do not drink drive and you do not get in a car with anyone who's drunk, I would have just gone with him, you know? Like, I think there's often this assumption that autistic people won't end up in those types of situations because we just stay in our houses and we don't go out and we don't do anything, when that's just not the case. I'm trying to have a life and be a person, and that means that I end up in the same situations that lots of other people do, only I don't know how to get out of them. I don't know how I end up in these situations. Like, I've had so many just chaotic things happen to me because I couldn't make a choice around things, and when I tell people about them, they're like, that's mental, and I'm like, yeah, it is a bit, isn't it? Like, shit. And as much as I'm like, it's big and it's dangerous, it's also really fucking annoying when I'm like, do I want a peppermint tea or a chai tea? And I can't make a choice, I don't get my yummy little tea drink to treat myself. But I think it's things like that where it makes it very, very clear that like, it is not an intentional thing, I'm not trying to be difficult, it's a genuine thing that I really fucking struggle with. And as much as I can like smile and laugh through it, it's super frustrating, it's very disheartening, it's very like, I feel kind of ashamed of it. I'm like, God, just make a fucking decision, you dumbass. But I can't. And having said that, that's obviously not how I feel about other people. I've known plenty of autistic people online, in real life, various situations that also struggle with this, and I'm like, yeah, I totally get that. It is really hard. You do what you gotta deal with, like, take your time, don't take your time, make a quick decision, close your eyes and point at something, like, whatever you gotta do to make your choice. I'll wait for you to do it, like, we've got all the time we need. But when it's me, I'm like, just fucking hurry up, you idiot. But yeah, that's all I want to say for this video, I do believe. So, as always, I'd love it if you commented. I do make these videos to try and begin a bit of a discussion, and this is something that I'm only very recently learning about and figuring out and realising that I do a lot. So it'd be really great to have more of a discussion around this and talk about it a bit more and hear what other people's experiences are like. And if you like this content, if you like this video, I also make other videos on Tuesdays and Sundays if you'd like to subscribe and all that. And you can also follow me on TikTok and Twitter and Instagram, and you can become a YouTube member or a Patreon member or donate to me on Ko-fi if you've got cash. If you haven't, you don't. Simple as that. There's no pressure, there's no like expectation. Just if you want to, you can. If you don't, you don't. And finally, before I sign off, it's a baby man. Oh, you just... Well, if you hadn't just completely sank your back feet down, you would have been alright. You get me? Oh, but his baby's so cute. Oh. He's not enjoying this. I don't really know why I'm continuing to do it to him. I just like to show him off. I do. I like to show you off. Like every horrible mommy vlogger. He has been here the whole time though. Do you want to see? Oh. Come here. Oh, don't stick your face out of frame immediately. Come on. Work for the camera, baby man. Work, work, fashion, baby. Work it, move those hips crazy. Otis really is a free bitch. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you're having a lovely morning, evening, day, month, year, and I'll see you again in a couple of days.